Hey guys, it's Athena. Guess what just happened? I sat here and made a 30-minute video, and when I signed off, I noticed it recorded 1 minute and 2 seconds. Part of me wants to flip out, but then again, maybe not, because I just don't know if I got the chutzpah to go ahead and redo the whole thing. Is that even a fake word? I don't know. Oh Lord. This video is about how I have handled my forays into and out of depression. But before I share my tips and tricks, I wanted to give the most important message, and that is this: depression is extremely serious. And I have no medical background. So if you are feeling depressed or low, or if you have ever entertained the idea of ending it all, I beg you to go see a doctor. Share your thoughts. Reach out to somebody that you trust and talk to them, because it's nothing to mess around with, obviously. And if you do see a doctor, you may find out there is something medical going on with you, such as thyroid issues, allergies. There are certain food allergies that can affect you. They've said some food allergies cause, hyperactive ADHD in children. They can also have an effect on your mood. There was a great book I read. It's also on Audible. It's called The Mood Cure, and it's by Julia Ross, I believe. I will include a screenshot of the book here. But that book was very eye-opening to me, because she has studied these things for years, and she has correlated a lack of certain amino acids with lethargy and depression and overall feelings of not being well. She has found that sometimes a supplement will fix things. So I ask you to please go talk to a doctor and find out what might be causing it, especially if there hasn't been any particular event in your life in recent years that is causing those feelings. If you have gone through something traumatic, of course, that's going to be a different story. Although I still say go see a doctor, please. And that's your number one. To me, that should be your number one priority, to go seek help. Help is out there. You are not stuck where you are right now. If you are low, you are not stuck there. You forever. Things will improve, especially if you reach for some help. Okay, that's what I wanted to say first. Now I want to share with you what has worked for me. Most of what I'm sharing is going to be some book titles, but there are a couple other strategies or tips that I recommend wholeheartedly. The first of those is put down the alcohol. Do not go to booze to feel better. It makes things worse. It exacerbates it. Yeah, you might think you're going to feel better in the short run, but I promise you, after a decade of trying it for myself, that it made it worse in the long run. The only times in my life that I have really, really considered suicide, I was drunk all of those times. And there were many of them. I would drink because I was stressed, or I was sad, or I was whatever. I would drink to feel better, but on many occasions I felt so much worse, which is no surprise. Alcohol is a depressant, and so the medicine that was supposed to help made it a million times worse. So if you are really unhappy right now, the first thing you need to do is see a doctor. The second thing I would really strongly suggest from my own personal experience is don't drink. Don't drink your way through it. Tomorrow marks my 500th day of sobriety. Whoop, whoop. And I will say, life situations haven't changed. The things that used to make me really depressed, many of those things are still around and still here. But I have not gone as low as I ever did back when I was drinking. Another tip, and I feel like a lot of these are duh, but they're not duh, because I just think sometimes we miss things that are kind of obvious, especially when we're not thinking straight because we're not happy or we're overstressed. But get more sleep, if at all possible. And I know if you have an infant, then it's probably not possible. If you're a single parent with small children, telling someone to get more sleep is like, okay, then come babysit so I can. I get it. I have been there. But if you don't have small children keeping you awake, carve out a way, carve out time, and get more sleep. I am at my worst when I don't do this. Things piss me off. I get mad at everything. I get frustrated. I hate people. That always happens if I let myself get too run down. And I know the first thing I need to do is put my ass to bed earlier. Get as much, 7 or 8 hours. I think most nights I get 6 to 7. But when things are getting a little stressful, I prioritize getting to bed earlier. There is nothing in my life that I need to do at night that's more important than getting that sleep. Even if I'm behind on stuff, I certainly do not need to be watching some show, as much as I might love it, or scrolling through the internet. Good Lord, that'll make things so much worse. How are you going to rest if you are sitting there reading a bunch of negativity, right? Which would be my third tip. Curate your feed, your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter. Curate your feed so that you don't have to be subjected to the nasty hostility that's out there. It's very easy to feel like the whole world is shit, but it's really not. The social media world is very shit, very shitty. But when you stop taking that stuff in, it's not as bad. Again, this is just from my perspective, but when I start thinking everything sucks, I find turn off the bullshit. Stop reading about every moron's nasty opinion, or even the people who just need to air out their stress. I think people have every right to do that. I don't want to be the person who they are airing out on. I've mentioned in the past, I am empathic, and when I hear stuff, it sticks. You remember that stupid thing we used to say when we were kids, or I did? I'm made of rubber, you made of glue, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Nope, I'm made of glue. And so if I'm not careful, if I let crap in, it sticks to me. Okay? And I don't like that. When I do realize that I am walking around with a bunch of ick stuck to me, then I do some of those strategies I've talked about in other videos. Salt bath, at least 20 minutes with like a cup of salt in there. Sage, I smudge myself. I've been doing that a lot lately. Been using a lot of selenite, wands to cut cords and get people's negative crap off me. Gear myself up. If I know I'm facing a lot of stuff, I'm wearing my hematite ring and I got my black tourmaline bracelet that I wear this stuff. This is my armor. So I try to keep the negative off me as much as possible. And when it's on me, I get it off. But I also, you wouldn't believe, I would say at least 3 times a week, could be more. I'll accept a friend on Facebook, someone I don't know, but I might accept somebody and they end up deleted by the end of the day because they will post just something so nasty. It doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be, it might just be like, my bullshit neighbors are up there. Why the fuck do people think that? And I'm just like, I don't need to see that. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm not going to tell people how to live their life on social media. You can do what you want with it. I do what I want with it. And what I want is to not have that on my feed. And so I get rid of it. I curate it to what feels good. It doesn't mean everything on there has to be happy, happy, joy, joy, and rainbows and unicorns, although that's awesome. And if it's someone I'm close to and I feel like I have a relationship with, I'm going to read it and I'm going to respond, with encouragement or with just a heart. I get a lot of hearts. If it's someone you love, if it's someone you know, part of your tribe or your family or your friends, you're agreeing to take it on, I guess, in that case. But if it's someone you don't know at all, no, I'm not a part of it. I delete that. Pay attention to what you're allowing in your mind. If you're a big NPR person, go for it. But if you find that you're listening to news and you're getting pissed off all the time, I would say maybe limit it. Stay informed. You don't have to do the ostrich head in the sand thing. Stay informed, but I would kind of limit it. I would say, for this amount of time is the only time I'm going to tune in and listen, and then turn it off. Unless you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, then do what you want. But I don't enjoy that stuff, and I don't need to hear all day long about how horrible life is and how horrible the world is. That will lead me back to feeling super bad and depressed. If you're a person who has had depression in your life, you don't need to hear that stuff, So I limit that. I stay informed, but I don't marinate in it. I've gotten where I haven't even listened to the radio in a long time. I don't know what the current music is. Sometimes I think I want to get back into the music because I enjoy music. I have my own music to listen to. But mainly, I fill my head with audiobooks and podcasts. So the rest of this video is going to be me sharing a few of those that I highly, highly, highly recommend to anyone who wants to be inspired or wants to be happier than they are right now. These have saved my life in a way. Before I even got sober, I would say these things helped me get to the path where I was ready for that, where I felt like I was capable of walking down that sober road without the crutch of alcohol. Brene Brown, she has a few books on Audible, and if you choose to listen to her, try to pick the ones that she narrates because she's amazing. She will if you're like me, she will make you laugh. She will make you cry. She will make you feel like you know her. She is so real and so honest. And what she says is life-changing. I've already listened to a few of her books more than once. I'm going to do it again. I love them. My two favorites, they're kind of a tie because I listened to them at the same time. So I don't know which story was in which book. I just remember both of them together were amazing. Rising Strong and The Power of Vulnerability. Those are my two favorite. They're the ones I was listening to my first weeks of sobriety, which happened to also correlate to my mother's last weeks of life. So very emotional time. And I would listen to them during that 9-hour drive to go see my mom like every week in September of 2016. And I would just be driving and boohooing and then laughing and then boohoo. And it was cathartic. It was healing. She's wonderful. She has a new one that has come out in the last couple months. It is called Braving the Wilderness. It's also very good. I don't like it quite as much as the other two, although it's pretty close. It is definitely, I would say, relevant to our current times because it had a political feel to it. Again, not one side or the other, but how we can coexist with people without having to hate them. How we can have a different opinion without being dickheads, right? So it's really good. Part of me was like, this should be required reading for everybody in the world. But anyway, she's good. These other three I'm going to share are not Brene Brown. There are other books that have been out probably for years, but I have only just listened to them this year. Again, I keep talking about Audible and listening because I'm on the road just under 2 hours a day. Rather than just sit and get nothing out of it, that's become sacred time where I learn and I grow and I think. Dan Millman, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Excellent book. Kind of has a Messiah in street clothes / Mr. Miyagi wisdom character and the young hotshot who learns from him. It's based on some truth, but then he also adds almost a mythological parable element to it. Highly wonderful. It may have been made into a movie. I don't even know. I should look it up because I would love to see it. But I would, whether or not it's a movie, I would definitely say read the book or listen to the book. Michael A. Singer, The Untethered Soul. I discovered him, I believe, on Oprah's podcast, which is called Super Soul Conversations. And holy shit, y'all. Oh my gosh. Her podcast leaves me feeling better than I did when it started. It's a vitamin O. But anyway, The Untethered Soul was, it's an excellent book about rising above it, getting out of your own thoughts, kind of examining what your thoughts are. And it reminds me of that expression, don't believe everything you think. Our thoughts are what torture us. Our thoughts are the reason we are so unhappy. Yes, life events happen, but it's how we handle those, how we think of those, and the stories we tell ourselves about those events that makes the difference between happiness or depression. And you can have two people who experience the same event, and one person will be destroyed, and the other person might be inspired, will rise above it, will grow wisdom from it. So, excellent one. This one has been around forever, The Four Agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't know how you say his name. I think I heard Arwen talk about that one. I had also heard about, I'm sure Oprah talked about it years ago. I watched Oprah almost all those years that she was on. She's like my guru. I don't know if Joanna DeVoe is watching this, but I know Joanna feels me on this one. Hey, Joanna. Wait, and the last book I'm going to recommend, if you like Oprah, you're going to love it. But yeah, The Four Agreements are 4 lessons or laws if you agree to in your life will be what you want it to be. And I can't speak more intelligently to it than that, other than it was amazing and I need to re-listen to it. All of these I need to listen to multiple times because each time I listen, I hear something I didn't hear before. I didn't digest it the first time, or it didn't sink in. Any book that has been influential on my life or has helped me in any way, I have had to go back, or I've wanted to go back and listen again and again and again, sometimes 10 times or more. Okay, the last one. This one just came out, I think last week or the week before, and I got it immediately. I heard Oprah talk about it on her podcast. It is called The Wisdom of Sundays. And again, I would recommend getting this one on Audible because you have Oprah's voice talking to you. It's like 10 or 12 chapters on different themes, and then she'll open it with telling you a little bit of an introduction and her thoughts, and then she will have parts of interviews she has done over the years. Some of these interviews have been on her podcast, but then some of them I have never heard. Either they were on her show many years ago and I missed it, or I forgot it, or I wasn't ready for it, because again, you can hear something and not really hear it until you're ready for it. Here's a gift to you. I don't get any kickback from this, but I wanted to let you know, if you are interested in any of these books that I've mentioned, they are all on Audible, and you don't even have to have a membership. You get a free month, which ends up being one book of any price. If you go to audible.com, I think, and I feel like it's like /trial or something like that. And if you type in certain codes, I always hear them on podcasts, so I'll give you 2 that I know of. And you type in the podcast and you'll get that free month. And after that month is over, you can cancel. I have never canceled. I've had Audible for years now, and I freaking love it. It's about the same price as having Netflix. And since I don't have a cable bill, I pay for Netflix and I pay for Audible. And those are my two sources of joy. And I'm thankful I don't have to pay for YouTube, although I do pay Patreon. So anyway, if you go to Audible Trials, and I think you can type in psychic teachers, one word, I would recommend them first because I know they could use the support on their podcast. If that one doesn't work, type in stuff, and that will help stuff you should know. Either of those will work for you, and you will get a free month. On my first go around of recording this, I said if you only get one, you should get the Oprah one. But I would say, you know what, get any of those. If any of those sounded interesting to you, then try them out. You can hear a little preview, like a 3-minute preview on Audible, and see if just that little bit you're listening to sounds good, and give it a whirl. If you want to try something else on there that's none of the above, go for it. But I definitely recommend drown out those negative thoughts in your head if you are unhappy or dealing with inner demons. Shut them up by plugging in and listening to upbeat, inspirational, higher vibrational type things. You will raise your own energy. You will feel better, and you might be able to rise above the mire and see your life for what it really is, the school where you're here to learn lessons. We are not here for everything to be easy. We are here to learn and to hopefully do good and to be kind. And I think we get tested a lot because that's how we learn best. Sometimes we learn the hard way the best. So I'm going to stop this now, and I'm going to really hope I didn't just lose 26 more minutes of footage. If so, I'm going to cry. So I hope I don't have to go crying. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. Reach out and talk to somebody. You don't have to be unhappy if you are unhappy. There are brighter days. Trust that you are loved. You are worthy. You are important. Don't argue with me. I know what I'm talking about. I love you. Thank you for watching, and be well. Peace.